A top 10 rival is heading to Morgantown for big noon kickoff. Hello, everybody. You're listening to the College Sports Superfan. Today, we're going to preview Penn State at West Virginia for this Saturday morning. Penn State is the number 8 team in the country. West Virginia is the home team. And this is a rivalry game. It's not as big of a deal as Penn State versus Pittsburgh or West Virginia versus Pittsburgh. But this is still a pretty big deal. The three of those schools used to play each other for a trophy every single year called the Three Ironsides Trophy. It's kind of like, tri-state rivalry. It was one of those sorts of things, kind of like how Army, Air Force, and Navy play each other for the Commander-in-Chief trophy. So they used to play each other for a 3-team trophy as well in the past, but that hasn't happened for a long time. And Penn State and West Virginia for a while did not play each other due to conference realignment. Back when they were both independent teams, they would play each other every single year. And then conferences realigned. Penn State joined the Big Ten. West Virginia joined the Big East, which no longer exists as a football conference. And that ended that annual rivalry. But fortunately, we have it again, and fortunately, it is back in Morgantown. Heading into this game, Penn State is 8.5-point favorites, despite being a top 10 team. It just goes to show Morgantown is a pretty tough place to go on the road and win even early during the day. The key here is that West Virginia went 8-4 in the regular season last year, which was shocking to me. I thought for sure they were going to have a mediocre season. Their team just didn't look all that impressive to me. I was thinking, anywhere from 4-8 to 6-6, and I thought Neil Brown was probably going to be on his way out the door. Instead, they go 8-4, and then they win the bowl game to go 9-4 last season with several quality wins. Garrett Green came out of nowhere and was a fantastic quarterback. Now he's back once again this year. C.J. Donaldson is back as a really good wrecking ball running back, and he's got a great offensive line to run behind as well. So this offense is balanced and should be very solid all throughout the season. A nice balanced attack for the Mountaineers. For Penn State, Drew Aller comes back. He had a lot of hype last season. Played pretty well in the games that Penn State was supposed to win, but then of course there were those games, their matchups, Ohio State, Michigan, Ole Miss, the 3 games where they're either even with or the other team is better than them, and Drew Aller just did not look all that great. But it was his first season as a starter. He's got a lot of hype and a lot of potential. This year, ideally, Aller should take a huge step forward. Plus, the receiving core should be better for Penn State this season. They bring in former highly touted 5-star recruit Julian Fleming, who's bounced around a little bit. He's now for his senior season. This is his last chance to make a statement and make it to the NFL. Some projections still have Julian Fleming as a first-round wide receiver if he could put it all together this season for the Nittany Lions. They also bring back tight end Tyler Warren, who is one of the best tight ends in the country, and we've seen Penn State produce elite tight end one after another. And then the running back core, So Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen, they're back for their junior seasons. That's one of the best 1-2 punches in all of college football. So the offense for Penn State, going to be very well balanced. They lose some great offensive linemen, but they should be able to replace. Probably the line probably isn't going to be as good as it was last season, but fortunately for them, West Virginia's defensive line likely takes a slight step back as well. Let's get into some of the quick history before I say who I think is going to win this game. This is a mostly lopsided rivalry. Penn State leads the all-time series 49-9 with 2 ties. And at one point in the rivalry's history, the Nittany Lions had a 25-game winning streak. From 1959 to 1983, they went undefeated against the Mountaineers. So that's also why the numbers are extremely lopsided. They first played their game in 1904, and they played annually every year from 1947 to 1992, which that 92 season after that, Penn State joined the Big Ten, West Virginia joined the Big East, which now no longer exists as a football conference. Some notable games in 1923, a long time ago, the two teams played at Yankee Stadium, and it was a 13-13 tie. Ties were a lot more common back in those days. 1988, West Virginia defeated Penn State 51-30. Here's the key thing about that game. That was the only time in legendary head coach Joe Paterno's coaching career with Penn State that he allowed more than 50 points by any opponent. Now, West Virginia was ranked, I think, either number 7 or number 8 in the poll at the time, but still very, very impressive from the Mountaineers. But the last time, they met was last season. So they hadn't met since 1992. Then last year, they finally meet for the first time since 1992 in Happy Valley, and Penn State wins the game 38-15. So not very balanced. This one should be a lot closer considering the fact that West Virginia got so much better as the year went on last year. That was the opening game last season. West Virginia still wasn't very good. They got much better as the season went on. Now they've got some momentum heading into this year, and they're hosting the game, so this one should be much closer. But I gotta be honest, I don't see that big of a swing. I don't see it going from 38-15 to all of a sudden West Virginia winning the game. Even though West Virginia's gotten a lot better, I don't think Penn State has gotten much worse. In fact, I think in some ways, Penn State has actually gotten better. They still have a great defense that's led by Abdul Carter as well. Overall, even though they've lost their defensive coordinator, Manny Diaz, I still think Penn State is going to be fine on that side of the ball. I still think Penn State's going to be able to weather the storm. The spread right now is 8.5. I'm going to say West Virginia covers that and loses by 7. I think this is going to be a close game. Penn State still gets the win, though. All right, thank you guys so much for listening to the College Sports Superfan. We predicted Penn State at West Virginia, and I believe that, of course, Penn State will win this game by 7 to get their 50th win over their rival, the Mountaineers. And there's more college football content still to come for the rest of the week as we continue talking about Week 1. Please like and subscribe to see more of those videos.